Okay, so this is going to be part 2 of the video. I'm going to start it off with short games at number 4. I really don't like short games. I really feel that the person that's buying them, the consumer itself, or the gamer, I really shouldn't say consumer, doesn't feel personal enough. The gamer itself really gets chipped out of this. You get chipped out of the story, you get chipped out of the gameplay. It really leaves a sour taste in your mouth when you can equate it to, okay, I spent 2.5 hours on this game that has like no replay value, and at $60, so you're looking at what, 30 an hour is what it costs you to play this game roughly. Could you imagine spending that in the arcades when you were younger? 30 in an hour? No way. No way. And I hate short games and games that are rushed. Those kind of go hand in hand, it almost feels like. They're too short. It feels like somebody's sitting up on Sunday night trying to get a term paper done, and they're just writing on whatever. They're like, I don't care. Whatever it takes to get this done. And then you just hand it in on Monday, and you're like, whatever. It's over. Or we're done with this. We're going to look on to the next thing. Yeah, that drives me absolutely nuts. I'm playing a game that's like that right now. Not short, but it's definitely poorly done, like it was rushed. And that is Dead Island. Dead Island is rushed. Oh my goodness. I'm going to do a separate review on Dead Island because I'm playing that right now, and you're going to watch me go nuts on that one. That is, oh man. And I love zombie games, and that's why I'm going through this at this point, because otherwise I don't know how I'd get through it. If it was anything else, I think I would have blown my head off by now. So, yeah. Tired of short games. I'm tired of games that are only 5 hours and that have no replay value. That's the thing. No replay value whatsoever. So it's like watching a movie and then that's it. And it sits on your shelf. So, next one is going to be special editions for everything. Now, I really didn't go through this list. Speaking of short rushed, but I didn't go through this list in depth because I just wanted to make the video. I really am passionate about this, and it drives me nuts. So it's like the points where I feel that I should get this out and then kind of adjust it. Maybe I'll do another one later on. So, but special editions for everything is one that really gets to me. Mainly because it seems like that's all they do now. It's just special editions. It's like it's taken the interesting factor out of it. It's you don't care about special editions as much. The last time I bought a special edition, up until just recently, because I did it with 2 games, because I really like those franchises. The last time I did a special edition, though, was for Grand Theft Auto. Actually, I lied, because I did it with Mortal Kombat as well. But past that point, when Mortal Kombat came out, which was like last year, I think, so 2011, I didn't do it until Grand Theft Auto, which I don't think came out till like 2007 or 2008, so it's a big hop between. But it's always so stupid. They always come out with stuff that, if you do collect, which I do, it's kind of like, well, I have to have this, because I want this game anyway, but why not get the collector's set? Because then you like look at it later on, like if you ever go back on eBay and you're like, I want this because I remember this, and you find out that it's a ridiculous amount of money, you're like, well, why not just get it now so that way I don't have to worry about it? But then there's always the factor of, well, it might not even really be worth it at that point. Like, you may spend $80-something on it, and then only to find out that because they mass-produce so many of them, it's only worth $30 in 3 years. So it's like, sometimes it's not even worth it at that point. And some of the stuff, it's like, nobody cares about. Nobody cares about your cards and your stupid handkerchief and your, oh God, I don't even know. Oh man, that's all I can think about with that one. That's gonna get me irked. So I'll just go into the next one with that. Updates. I hate updates. I really do. Feels like every freaking week there's an update. Now, I don't play Xbox that much, so I haven't done an Xbox update in a while. Wii updates, those aren't too bad because there very rarely is any. At least that I've noticed. I haven't played the Wii in a while, so. But when I did, very rarely an update. I mean, I don't ever remember having to do an update, honestly. But then again, I don't connect online. But when the game requires the update, that's what irks me. So, you have to pay to get a game, and now, if you want to play those games, you got to do this stupid update. And it's like, okay, some people are like, well, just do the update. Who cares? It's an update. It's done. Well, interesting thing is, if you have a PS3, I have an old 60 gig one. Actually, I have two. My one died that I got originally at launch, but I went out and bought another 60 gig, even while mine was working, because I was like, at some point in time, this thing's not going to work anymore, and it might not be repairable, which it's not now. So I'll get another one, and I did. But the problem is that on some updates they take stuff away. If you have, I believe it's 3.15 or prior, you have the other OS option on your PS3 in the firmware, so you can actually install Linux on there. And I like using Linux, and I like creating stuff. So to me, it's one of those things that's one reason. Plus, I don't like stuff being taken away from me when I first buy it, which is the other operating system option. That irks me. So stuff like that with updates, there's no point. I mean, I get the whole point, the piracy thing. That's the only reason. Well, not the only reason. Sometimes the updates are beneficial. They will fix bugs if there's an issue, or you know what? And sometimes it's not even like bad production, but it could be a new third-party item that's been introduced into the PlayStation market, and they find out that, hey, people with versions 3.1 and lower have these issues where it's like something where if that came out for regular Nintendo or Super Nintendo, that wouldn't be able to be fixed. So it would be like a recall at that point. So now it's just easily, they can just do an update online and that fixes it. But most in part, I hate updates. I really do. I hate that you don't have the ability. If you don't want to do an update, you can't play the fucking game. So it's going to leave me to my last part, and that is PlayStation. It's my number one thing I hate about gaming. I used to love PlayStation. I had PS2 at launch, and I got PS3 at launch. Well, very close to launch, like a day after launch. I bought it on eBay, but I was like, oh man, I have to have this system. I can't wait. And PlayStation 3 is where it really started going south. When it first came out, I didn't even care about the price point. I was very excited about the system, and I was like, oh man, this is going to be great. Look at what they're doing. They're finally doing things right. They have Blu-ray on their side, and that actually won the digital format war. So now it's like everything's going to go well. And then they released the PS3 60 gig and 20 gig, both backwards compatible. 60 gig had 4 USB ports and a digital media card reader. Not that big of a importance to people, but at the same time it was to other people. Why? Because you could use those and copy your saves right to it from other games. You could manage your memory cards. If you have a whole crap load of memory cards like that, you can now put it on your computer and then slowly move stuff around as you wish. Those things were awesome. The wireless controller, they were now using USB. USB is being implemented into everything. The first letter in USB is U, universal. Hence, that works. And some of the stuff they kept, but other things have gone. Backwards compatibility, that's no longer there anymore. It used to be software emulation. Or it used to be hardware emulation at the very beginning with the first PS3 and the 20 gig. Apparently even the 80 gig at some point I found out, but not anymore. They went to software emulation. Now the software emulation's gone completely on that, so it doesn't support any games like that. Natively they support PS1 games. You plug a PS1 game into any PS3, from what I understand, should work with no problem, recognizes it, even on the Slim I'm using right now. But just, they remove that. Now you can download PS2 titles, so they supposedly work, but they won't read your games. Oh my god, I've got a lot. I can't even begin to go on with this, but I'm going to end it there. If you like what you see, subscribe, leave me a comment, let me know what you think. Thank you.